Okay. A very good day to my dear students of class 8, St. Augustine School, Kalimpong. Today, I want to explain you the basic things from this chapter. The name of the chapter is Chemical Reactions. In the previous chapter, Language of Chemistry, you all have learned how to write chemical reactions and how to balance them. And I am very definite that you must have learned all the valencies from the valency chapter. Now, this chapter, Chemical Reactions, is chapter 6 of your chemistry textbooks. Now, what is a chemical reaction? A chemical reaction is something in which there is a reactant or reactants and new substances are formed which are called products. Let me give you an example, a very simple example. For example, if I write capital A plus capital B and then an arrow, we get C plus D. We get C plus D. Now, this is a general chemical reaction where you will find that A and B, these are called reactants. These are called reactants. And on the other side, right hand side of the arrow, we have C plus D. These are called products. These are called the products. Now, the products C and D which are formed after the reaction between A and B, these are completely new substances. These are completely new substances. You must keep this in mind. Now, this is a general chemical reaction. In a general chemical reaction, you will find reactants. The reactants are separated from the products by an arrow. Okay? The products are completely new substances. Now, let me take an example for the reaction between zinc metal. I am writing zinc within brackets S. Small s means it is solid, zinc metal. To this zinc metal, if I add dilute sulfuric acid, dilute H2SO4, then a reaction is going to happen very vigorously. Zinc metal is a reactive metal. It reacts with dilute sulfuric acid to produce zinc sulfate in the solution, and a gas liberates. A gas is given out, and the name of the gas, the symbol of the gas is hydrogen gas. This gas gets liberated. Now, this gas bubbles out of the solution. Now, this is a chemical reaction where zinc and dilute sulfuric acid are the reactants and zinc sulfate and hydrogen are the products. So, here you will have to understand this very nicely. In any chemical reaction, after writing any chemical reaction, it is very, very important for all of us to make sure that the chemical equation is balanced. Otherwise, we will not be obeying the law of conservation of mass. That is why we have to make sure the equation is balanced properly. Let us check over here. On the left hand side of this arrow, zinc, 1 atom. Here there is zinc, 1 atom. So zinc is 1, zinc is 1. Next, hydrogen, 2 atoms. In the sulfuric acid, hydrogen, there are 2 atoms. On the other side, hydrogen, 2 atoms. Come to the left hand side. Sulfur, 1 atom. Sulfur is 1 atom. Here also sulfur is 1 atom. Oxygen, 4 atoms. Here also oxygen, 4 atoms. Therefore, my dear students, this equation is what? It is balanced. It is balanced. It is already balanced. No need to balance it. Okay, now let us move further ahead in this chapter. So, in this chapter, I will be teaching you some more things about chemical reactions. Now, chemical reactions, you will find chemical reactions where some chemical reactions they give out heat energy, some chemical reactions which absorb heat energy. So, let me explain them first. Now, the first type of chemical reaction which gives out heat energy, exothermic, exothermic, E-R-M-I-C, exothermic. Exothermic reactions. Exothermic reactions. Exothermic reactions. Now what are exothermic reactions? These are reactions. These are reactions. Reactions in which heat energy is given out. That means when the reactants react with each other, then some form of energy is given out. That is why we call it heat energy is given out. Some reaction are there where there is light energy coming out. Okay, so it depends on what type of energy is being given out. So any chemical reaction which proceeds by the evolution of heat energy is called an exothermic reaction. Let me give you some examples. The first example over here will be for the reaction between hydrogen gas. If I allow hydrogen gas to combine with oxygen gas, then I will get water vapor. Water vapor. This is a vapor. I must condense this vapor and get it in the liquid form. So here, hydrogen gas combining with oxygen gas to form water vapor and plus delta. I am writing delta. Why delta? This plus delta means this delta stands for heat. And I have written plus sign because heat is given out. After hydrogen and oxygen combine, water vapor is formed. Along with this water vapor, heat energy is also given out. That's why on the product side, I am putting over there plus sign and a delta symbol over here. This delta is the symbol for heat energy. Please keep that in mind. Now, if you look very carefully at this equation is not balanced at all. So I must make sure the equation is balanced. Hydrogen is 2, over here hydrogen is 2. But oxygen over here is 2 and oxygen over here is only 1. So I need to put over here 2. If I put over here 2, oxygen becomes 2, oxygen is 2, but hydrogen has become 4. So hydrogen is 2 over here, so I have to put 2 over here. Now this equation is balanced. Another example of an exothermic reaction is the reaction between carbon solid, burning of carbon in oxygen of the air. If I burn carbon in oxygen of the air, if I ignite it, then I will get carbon dioxide gas, CO2 gas. Along with this CO2 gas, heat energy is also given out. Same symbol of heat energy. So these are two examples of exothermic reactions. So I want to repeat once more. Exothermic reactions are those reactions in which heat energy is given out or evolved. Now, the next type is endothermic reactions. Endothermic reactions. Endothermic reactions. Now, let me tell you the meaning of endothermic reactions. These are reactions in which heat energy is absorbed. Heat energy is absorbed. So here, when two reactants are brought close enough and they happen to react, then products are formed. But for the product to be formed, when heat energy is absorbed by the reactants, then the reaction is called endothermic reaction. I want to give you two examples only for this also. The two examples are, the first example over here, nitrogen gas combines with oxygen gas. Over here, I will not put the arrow first, but since this is an endothermic reaction here, nitrogen gas combines with oxygen gas. This combination of nitrogen gas with oxygen gas requires a very high temperature of approximately 3000 degrees Celsius. It needs a high temperature. That is why on the reactant side I will put plus delta, plus heat. I am going to add heat over here on the reactant side because the combination between nitrogen gas and oxygen gas requires a very high temperature. Then only the reaction is possible. So, after these two react at this temperature, the product formed is nitrogen monoxide, which is also a gas. Let me tell you, my dear students, this is a chemical reaction which happens naturally whenever lightning strikes before a rainfall. Before a heavy rainfall, there is thundering. Lightning takes place. During lightning, the temperature of the atmosphere on the upper atmosphere becomes 3000 degrees Celsius. And at this temperature, the atmospheric nitrogen and the atmospheric oxygen, they combine very, very happily to produce nitric oxide. So, this is the first example of endothermic reaction. Now, the next example of endothermic reaction is this is red hot coke. Red hot coke, carbon. When I react red hot carbon coke with water vapor, I am reacting red hot coke carbon with water vapor. It is forming, I have to provide lot of heat energy. It is forming carbon monoxide and hydrogen gas. Carbon monoxide and hydrogen gas. You must have come across this in your previous chapter. Carbon monoxide and hydrogen gas, this gaseous mixture, it is called water gas. It is called water gas. It is a very, very important product in chemical science. Now, I have given you two examples of endothermic reactions. I revise it once more. Endothermic reactions are those reactions in which heat energy is absorbed. The first example is reaction between nitrogen gas and oxygen gas at 3000 degrees Celsius to produce nitrogen monoxide. Here heat energy is absorbed. The second reaction is the reaction between red hot coke, carbon plus water vapor at a very high temperature, and then the products formed are carbon monoxide and hydrogen gas. This mixture is called water gas. So, I have explained you now what are exothermic reactions, what are endothermic reactions. Now let me proceed further in this chapter. The next topic which I must explain all of you is type of chemical reactions. When I say type of chemical reactions, you must be surprised what I am trying to say. But in your class 8 syllabus, there are only few types of chemical reactions. As you go to the higher classes, then you will be learning much more types of chemical reactions in inorganic chemistry, in organic chemistry, and different parts of chemistry. But here, maximum number of types of reactions which you will be learning in class 8 is only 4 or at the most 5 of them only. So, let me discuss this one by one in detail. Now, the next topic is types of chemical reactions. Types of chemical reactions. Types of chemical reactions. Now, the first type, number one, the first type of chemical reaction, it is called combination reaction. It is called combination reaction or synthesis reaction. Synthesis reaction. Now what is the meaning of combination reaction or synthesis reaction? In a combination reaction or synthesis reaction, two simple elements or two simple compounds or a compound and an element, they combine to form another new compound. Am I clear? So, in a combination reaction or synthesis reaction, two simple elements or two simple compounds or a simple compound and an element combine, react with each other to form a new product. Such a reaction is called combination reaction or synthesis reaction. The definition of this combination reaction or synthesis reaction you will find in the notes which I have already sent you. Let me give you the examples of combination reaction or synthesis reaction. The first one, The first one is reaction between nitrogen gas and hydrogen gas to produce ammonia gas, NH3. Okay. The second example is reaction between ammonia gas and hydrogen chloride gas to produce ammonium chloride vapors. The third example is the reaction between sulfur dioxide gas and oxygen gas to produce sulfur trioxide gas. Okay, now let me explain this example, these chemical reactions. My dear students, please watch very carefully. When I was writing these equations, I made sure that I wrote them in the balanced form already. These equations are already balanced. There is no need to balance, but when you write chemical equation, make sure you write the equations and make them balanced. Now, the first one, the first example, it is a combination reaction between nitrogen gas and element, hydrogen gas, another element. So, element plus element is forming a new compound. Number one. Next one, ammonia, it is a compound. Hydrogen chloride is a compound. So, I am reacting a compound, another compound to form another new compound. The third one is sulfur dioxide, it is a compound. Oxygen is an element, so compound and an element, I am forming a new compound. So, this is combination reaction or synthesis reaction. Okay, now let me go to the next second type of chemical reaction. The second type of chemical reaction is called, number 2, it is called decomposition reaction. Decomposition reaction. The definition of decomposition reaction you will find in the book. It is given over there, or I have given you the definition of decomposition reaction in my notes assignment which I have already sent you some time ago. Now, now what is a decomposition reaction? A decomposition reaction is a reaction in which a compound which is made up of two or more elements, it decomposes, it breaks down into two or more simpler substances. A decomposition reaction is a reaction in which a compound, a complex compound containing more than two elements, by the action of heat or maybe by the action of light or maybe by the action of electricity, it breaks down, it decomposes into two or more simple substances. Means it can form elements also, it can form simple compounds also. So that is a decomposition reaction. Let me explain this decomposition reaction with the help of an example over here. So the first example is twice KClO3. This compound is called potassium chlorate. We have already come across this compound chemical formula in the previous chapters. When I was teaching you chemical formula, I have told you, I mentioned this name already. So, twice KClO3, this is called potassium chlorate. Potassium chlorate. When potassium chloride is subjected to high temperature, when it is subjected to high temperature, when I heat potassium chloride to high temperature, then it will break down. It will break down to the potassium chloride and oxygen gas. See. So, a compound is breaking down into simple compound and an element. So, this is the first example of decomposition reaction. This equation is not balanced. I need to balance it. Potassium is 2, chlorine is 2. So, I will put 2 over here. But oxygen is 3 into 2 is 6. Oxygen is only 2 over here. So, I will put 3 over here. Now, the equation is balanced. Have a look at it very carefully. In the meantime, I will discuss the second example of decomposition reaction where I will take calcium carbonate. Calcium carbonate. This is calcium carbonate. It is commonly called limestone. It is commonly called limestone. Limestone. Calcium carbonate is commonly called limestone. So, my dear students, if I heat calcium carbonate to a very high temperature, approximately 1100 degrees Celsius, then this calcium carbonate is going to decompose, break down into calcium oxide and another gas, that is carbon dioxide. This is solid and this is a gas which escapes in the air. So, my dear students, I have explained you now the second example of types of chemical reaction, which is called decomposition reaction. Please go through these reactions and pause my video several times and try to understand what I mean to say. Now I'll go to the next type of chemical reaction, which is called simple displacement reaction. That is number 3. Simple displacement reaction, or we call it in the book single displacement reaction as well. Now, in simple displacement reaction, to understand simple displacement reaction, my dear students, it is very, very important for all of us to understand and remember the activity series of metals. What is the activity series of metals? Activity series of metals is a series of metals which is arranged from top to bottom in the decreasing order of the reactivity. Now, number 3, the type of reaction, the third type of chemical reaction is called simple displacement reaction. To understand this simple displacement reaction, it is very important that we learn the activity series. I am going to write down the activity series at the side. Activity series of metals. METALS, metals. The activity series of metals contains these following elements in the decreasing order of reactivity: K, NaCaMg, AlZnFe, PbH, CuHg, Ag, Au and Pt. Now, in this activity series of metals, you will see the metallic elements are arranged from top to bottom, but there is hydrogen in between, which is non-metallic. This hydrogen is acting as a boundary, as a border between the more reactive metals and the less reactive metals. I want to repeat them once more. Potassium, sodium, calcium, magnesium, aluminium, zinc, iron, lead, hydrogen, copper, mercury, silver, gold and platinum. You must remember this order by heart. K, NaCaMg, AlZnFe, PbH, CuHg, Ag, Au, Pt. In one breath you must be able to memorize this and say them or write them down. Now, let me explain this properly. Potassium is the most reactive element among all these. And when we move from potassium towards platinum, the reactivity decreases. The reactivity decreases from top to bottom. That is very important to be kept in mind. Now let me come back to simple displacement reaction. A simple displacement reaction is a reaction in which a more reactive element displaces a less reactive element from its compound. One example. Let me take one example. Example number 1. Zinc metal. Let me take zinc metal. This is zinc metal solid. If I take zinc metal and put this zinc metal in copper sulfate solution, aqueous. Now, watch very carefully. Zinc is a metal in copper sulfate solution. Copper is the metallic part. Now, look at the activity series. In the activity series, you will find that zinc is here, and copper is here. Which among these two elements is placed higher? Watch carefully. Between zinc and copper, who is higher? Zinc is higher. Okay. So, since zinc is higher, this zinc metal will displace copper from copper sulfate. It will kick out. It will remove this copper from copper sulfate out and take the place of copper from copper sulfate. So it forms, the products obtained becomes like this: zinc sulfate plus copper. This copper is a reddish brown metal, shiny metal. And over here, this copper sulfate solution is a light blue solution. So what happens? After the reaction has taken place, the light blue solution, copper sulfate, becomes into this is a colorless solution. It is a colorless solution, and in the colorless solution at the bottom of the container you will find reddish brown copper metal. This is the first example of a simple displacement reaction in which a more reactive metal displaces a less reactive metal from its compound. Please try to understand this nicely. The next example of simple displacement reaction is the reaction between iron, metallic iron being reacted with again copper sulfate solution, CuSO4 solution. As I have already told you, copper sulfate solution is light blue solution. It is a light blue transparent solution, and the color of iron is say brownish, slightly brown, deep brown we can say. So now let us compare the position of iron and copper in the activity series. Let us see whether this reaction will happen or not. If you see, the position of iron is here and the position of copper is here. So definitely iron is placed above copper. So this iron is going to kick out. It is going to kick out copper from copper sulfate. It is going to displace copper from copper sulfate, and it is going to form ferrous sulfate, FeSO4, plus copper metal is formed. Now the color of this is light blue, but after the reaction is complete, then I will get reddish brown copper metal, and the color of this is, it is a dirty green solution. It is a dirty green solution. Iron sulfate is a dirty green solution. So my dear students, you must have understood what is the meaning of simple displacement reaction with the help of these two examples. Please always keep in mind, the more reactive metal displaces the less reactive metal from its salt solution. For example, if I take, let me take this one. If I take copper metal plus zinc sulfate solution, the reaction will not occur. Remember that, the reaction will not take place because copper is placed lower than zinc. That is why it cannot replace zinc. For example, if I take the second one, if I take, for example, copper plus iron sulfate, again here the reaction will not take place. Whatever metal you are reacting with the solution, the position of the metal must be higher in the activity series, then only it is possible for simple displacement reaction to occur. So now my dear students, you must have understood this. Please pause this video several times and try to understand. But before understanding this, make sure you learn this activity series of metals properly. Now, let me move ahead to the next type of chemical reaction, that is number 4, which is called double decomposition reaction or double displacement reaction. Now, in double decomposition reaction, you will find that when the reaction proceeds and the products are formed, the products contain the partners which have been exchanged from the reactants. Now, let me explain that nicely and briefly over here. Number 4, that is double decomposition reaction. This word decomposition is very important to understand. Decomposition is also called displacement. Another word is displacement. Double decomposition we also call it displacement, double displacement reaction. Now, let me explain with a general reaction. For example, if I have a compound, say AB, there is a compound which is called AB. I react this compound AB with another compound CD. AB and CD are the reactants. Compound, another compound. So when they react, after the reaction is complete, they exchange their partners, they interchange their partners. So AB reacts with CD to form AD plus CB. So on the product side we find that after the reaction, the products formed are an outcome of interchange of the partners of the reactants. So a double decomposition reaction is a reaction in which, or a reaction which occurs by the exchange of the radicals among themselves. So let me come to some very good examples of a double decomposition reaction. The first one is reaction between sodium chloride solution, AQ, sodium chloride solution, and silver nitrate solution, AgNO3 solution. Sodium chloride and silver nitrate solution. See, NaCl, AgNO3. Now sodium is the metal, valency is +1. Chloride is the non-metal, valency -1. Silver is the metal, valency +1. Nitrate is a radical, valency -1. Now, when I add sodium chloride solution to silver nitrate solution, then a double displacement reaction occurs by the exchange of the radicals. So, this sodium will go and combine with nitrate. It will leave chloride and go and combine with nitrate. So, it forms sodium NaNO3, sodium nitrate in the solution plus. Now this silver, which is the metallic ion in the second reactant, it combines with the chloride to form silver chloride, AgCl. Now this silver chloride is a precipitate. It is a precipitate, insoluble solid. It is white in color. It is a white curdy precipitate. So this is an example of a double decomposition reaction where the reactants, they interchange their partners. The reactants, they interchange their radicals, they interchange their ions. Please be very careful over here. Positive combines with negative. This positive combines with the negative of the first reactant. This is the first example of double decomposition reaction. The next example of double decomposition reaction I am writing now, it is between barium chloride solution. Barium chloride solution reacted with sodium sulfate solution, Na2SO4. Sodium sulfate solution. This is also very interesting and wonderful reaction. You will like it when it happens in reality, performed in the chemistry lab. It is a wonderful reaction. Now, let me explain this nicely and briefly over here. Barium chloride, barium valency +2, chloride valency -1, sodium valency +1, sulfate radical valency -2. So, now when I react barium chloride solution with sodium sulfate solution, then the radicals are interchanged. The +1, this plus barium combines with minus of the other, so it forms barium sulfate. Barium sulfate. Arrow downwards. Whenever there is an arrow pointing downwards, it means it is a precipitate. Precipitate. It is a precipitate. Along with this, the sodium combines with chloride, so it forms sodium chloride, twice NaCl in the solution. So, look and watch very carefully. I have tried my best to make you understand this very important type of reaction, which is called double decomposition reaction, by taking two examples. First reaction is between sodium chloride solution and silver nitrate solution, where I am getting a white precipitate of silver chloride and sodium nitrate, and in the second one, barium chloride solution reacting with sodium sulfate solution to form again a white colored precipitate. This precipitate is also white. It is also white, of barium sulfate and sodium chloride solution. So here it is very, very important to understand how the ions are getting exchanged. Never combine plus with plus. Plus combines with the minus of the other one. Plus of this one, silver nitrate, combines with the minus of the first one. That is very, very important. Here also see. Barium combines with the, barium is plus, so it combines with the minus of the next one. So that is why it is forming barium sulfate. Over here barium sulfate. And here sodium is combining with the minus of the first one, so it is forming sodium chloride. Over here sodium chloride. So now my dear students, I have explained you 4 types of chemical reaction. One more is left, which is called number 5, which is called oxidation and reduction reactions. Let me explain that also. You must have heard of oxidation and reduction in your previous classes, but today I will make this concept very, very clear to all of you. That is number 5. Number 5, oxidation and reduction reactions. oxidation and reduction reactions. Now, let me explain the meaning of oxidation first and reduction second. What is the meaning of oxidation? Oxidation means addition of oxygen, see, addition plus sign, addition of oxygen or removal of hydrogen, minus plus over here. This is very important concept. Oxidation means addition of oxygen or removal of hydrogen, whereas reduction means removal of oxygen and or addition of hydrogen. This is the concept about oxidation and reduction reaction. This you have to understand properly. Again I repeat, oxidation means addition of oxygen, removal of hydrogen. Reduction means removal of oxygen or addition of hydrogen. Let me explain this oxidation and reduction reactions with the help of two examples only. The first example is the reaction between copper oxide and hydrogen gas. Now try to understand this properly. Copper oxide, it is a metallic oxide. The color of copper oxide is black. So when a stream of hydrogen gas is passed over copper oxide and the temperature of this copper oxide is maintained very high, when it is heated, then a reaction happens between copper oxide and hydrogen where this hydrogen takes the oxygen, it removes the oxygen. So the products formed are copper metal and water vapor. Look at this. What has happened? Copper oxide has become copper. So what has happened? What has happened? Copper oxide has become copper. So is there loss of oxygen? Is there removal? Is there removal of oxygen? So removal of oxygen, what did I say? Reduction, no? So removal of oxygen is reduction. It is what? Reduction. Now, on the other side over here, this hydrogen gas, after reacting with copper oxide, it is forming what? It is forming water vapor. See, it is forming what? It is forming water vapor. So, hydrogen is becoming water vapor. And in this water vapor, is there oxygen? So, here there is what? Addition. There is what? Addition of what? Addition of oxygen. So what did I say? Addition of oxygen over here. Addition of oxygen is what? Oxidation. So here it is oxidation. So such a reaction is called oxidation reaction and reduction reaction. But a very important point to understand over here is that a reaction in which both oxidation and reduction which occur simultaneously, a reaction in which both oxidation and reduction occur simultaneously, such reactions are called redox. Such reactions are called redox reactions. Such reactions are called redox reactions. Please remember this. Redox reactions are those reactions in which oxidation and reduction occur or take place simultaneously. This is one example. I want to give you one more example. The next example is the reaction between manganese dioxide, MnO2, which is also a black colored powdery substance, with concentrated hydrochloric acid. Concentrated hydrochloric acid, the products formed will be, of course there is a high temperature, the products formed will be MnCl2 plus water vapor plus chlorine gas. Have a look at this. It is a wonderful reaction. A gas is formed. Which is called chlorine gas, and this gas is a greenish. It is a greenish yellow gas. It is a greenish yellow gas. This is a greenish yellow gas, which is chlorine gas. Now you have to check whether the equation is balanced or not. The equation must be balanced. So here in front of water I will put 2. And now the equation looks balanced. Now let me see. Over here, manganese dioxide, it is becoming manganese chloride. Manganese dioxide is becoming manganese chloride. So have a look. It is becoming manganese chloride. So oxygen is kicked out. So there is removal of oxygen. So loss of oxygen is called reduction. It is called what? It is called reduction. Loss of oxygen is called reduction. Now this concentrated hydrochloric acid, it is becoming what? It is becoming over here chlorine. It is becoming chlorine. Form HCl. Hydrogen is kicked out. So that hydrogen is kicked out means loss of hydrogen, that is oxidation. It is oxidation. So my dear students, we have seen in this example also that in the same chemical reaction, one side reduction is happening by the loss of oxygen, and the other side oxidation is happening by the loss of hydrogen. See, loss of hydrogen over here, loss of hydrogen is oxidation, okay, and over here loss of oxygen is reduction. So these are the different types of chemical reaction which I have explained you till now. Now a little bit is more to be explained over here to all of you about oxides. Oxides of metals, oxides of non-metals, and oxides of non-metals which are called acidic oxides. Oxides of metals are called basic oxides. There are oxides which are also called amphoteric oxides. There are oxides which are also called neutral oxides. So I will just give you the examples, few examples of such oxides and explain what do they mean. Now let me explain you and give you the first type of oxide which is called acidic oxides. So the first one, number one, acidic oxides are those oxides which are formed when non-metals are burnt in oxygen of the air. So when a non-metal combines with oxygen, then an acidic oxide is formed. Number one, acidic oxide. Acidic oxide. Oxides. Non-metal. Let me take first example. Carbon. Carbon is a non-metal. It combines with oxygen to form carbon dioxide gas. So this carbon dioxide gas is what? It is an acidic oxide. Why it is acidic? Because if you make this gas dissolve in water, it is going to form carbonic acid, H2CO3. This is an acid. What acid? Carbonic. It is carbonic acid. Look at this. So the reason is hidden over here. Non-metallic, non-metal burning in oxygen to form non-metallic oxide. Non-metallic oxides are acidic. Why? Because if you dissolve non-metallic oxide in water, it forms acids, and this acid, in this case, it is carbonic acid. Another example. If I take sulfur, another non-metal, burn it in oxygen of the air, it forms sulfur dioxide gas. This sulfur dioxide gas is another acidic oxide. Why it is acidic oxide? Because if I dissolve this sulfur dioxide in water, it is going to form sulfurous acid. Sulfurous, the spelling is here. Sulfurous acid. So now you must have got some idea what are acidic oxides. The word acidic, please keep in mind, whenever the word acidic comes in mind, remember non-metal. Bring to your head non-metal, the word non-metal, burning in oxygen to form non-metallic oxides which are acidic in nature. And why they are acidic in nature? Because they, upon being dissolved in water, they produce acids. So this is the first type of oxides. The next type, number two, basic oxides. Basic oxides. Let me give you the examples first. Now, basic oxides are those oxides of metals which are formed when metals are burnt in oxygen of the air. So, the few examples I want to give you is calcium oxide. The next example is magnesium oxide. The third example is sodium oxide. So, these are formed when the metals calcium, magnesium and sodium are burned down in oxygen. So, that is why metallic oxides are basic in nature. Most of them are basic in nature. Now, why they are basic? Because if you put them in water, if you dissolve them, if you react them with water, then they form basic solutions. Calcium oxide will form calcium hydroxide. It is a base alkali. Magnesium oxide dissolved in water to form magnesium hydroxide, MgOH twice. Sodium oxide dissolved in water to form sodium hydroxide, which is a strong alkali, like this. Okay. Now, these are the basic oxides. Now, you must have got, whenever the word basic oxide comes to your mind, think about the metals. Whenever the word acidic oxides come to your mind, think about the non-metals, carbon or sulfur or phosphorus or nitrogen. Okay, there are so many examples, but I am giving only few examples for you to understand only. Now, the next type of oxide, number 3, is amphoteric oxides. I will give you one example of amphoteric oxide. There are many examples, but one is a good one. So, the one example of amphoteric oxide is zinc oxide. Now, what are amphoteric oxides? Amphoteric oxides, number 3. Amphoteric oxides are those oxides which show both acidic as well as basic properties. Example of amphoteric oxide, zinc oxide, one example. Another example is aluminum oxide, but I will give you the equation of only zinc oxide. Both these oxides are amphoteric, which means these oxides behave like acids also, they behave like bases also. So let me show you the example by taking zinc oxide. Zinc oxide, first I will react with acid. Let me take the acid, is hydrochloric acid. Hydrochloric acid. So when I react zinc oxide with hydrochloric acid, it is going to form zinc chloride, then Cl2 plus water. Here zinc oxide is acting as a, it is showing its basic nature. Now, in the second one, zinc oxide, let me react with sodium hydroxide. See, when I react zinc oxide with sodium hydroxide, which is an alkali, now this will behave like an acid. So it is going to form Na2ZnO2, sodium zincate plus water, salt and water. See? So here in the second one, this zinc oxide is showing its acidic nature. It is showing its acidic nature. So this is one example of amphoteric oxide. The last type of oxide which I am going to mention is, it is called neutral oxides. Neutral oxides. Examples only is required. Some neutral oxide examples are carbon monoxide. The second one is nitrous oxide. Carbon monoxide, nitrous oxide. The third one is nitrogen monoxide. Okay. Carbon monoxide, nitrous oxide, nitric oxide. This one is also called laughing gas. What is this called? Laughing gas. It is also called laughing gas. Am I clear? It is also called laughing gas. So, these are neutral oxides. Only example means, what is the meaning of neutral oxide? Neutral oxides, those oxides which are neither acidic, which are neither basic, which are neither amphoteric. So, they are just neutral. They do not show any litmus test. They do not show any methyl orange test. They do not show any indicator test. To be very plain and simple. If you take this and put them in water, they will form neutral solution. That is why they are called neutral oxides. Now, my dear students, I have briefly explained you this chapter in a very short while in one video only. Please try to go through my video very, very carefully, nicely, and go through the assignment, the lesson which I have given you, and try to solve the question answers in the book itself. The page numbers have already been given last time. Thank you so much. Have a nice day.